What are the products that you should avoid selling on Amazon? In this video, we ask a lot of different Amazon sellers about what products they shouldn't sell and why. As we are always trying to find the best products to sell on Amazon, sometimes we forget about what products would be better to avoid. That's why we decided to prepare this video for you so you know exactly what are those undesirable products to avoid. Hi Amazon sellers, I'm Samuel from BQool, and let's jump right into today's video.
Yeah, I would say anything that's like health and beauty, topical supplements, stuff like that, because it's just a lot riskier. There's a lot of IP complaints that you can get in those categories and potential lawsuits, I guess, you know, if you sell something that's expired or anything like that. So to kind of flip that over, I would say I would start with books, I would start with DVDs, I would start with board games, I would start with video games, I would start with CDs. You can even do records, cassettes. Believe it or not, I just sold a freaking Michael Jackson cassette the other day, eBay to Amazon. I didn't make that much money on it, but I was like, wow, someone bought a cassette that I bought from eBay to Amazon. Anything that's just not a dangerous good, I would start there. I wouldn't do like, obviously grocery, you're not gonna do it, but believe it or not, there are some grocery opportunities to flip from eBay to Amazon, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do clothing as well. Clothing, you're gonna get a lot of returns. I wouldn't do electronics in the beginning. You're gonna get a lot of returns, especially if you're doing used. I do all new, by the way.
All brand new.
I'm
so
all
you're
brand
sourcing
new.
All brand new, not used items.
Only used I'll do is books, because I'll never sell a book as new, because there's people getting sued now selling books, especially textbooks. You have to be very careful. There's a lot of sharks in the water now. We can talk about that another time. There's plenty of opportunities in books, but there's some things you need to know.
Electronics, hazmat.
Okay, dangerous products.
Right, unless you're set up and able to merchant fulfill. And that's where everybody's entrepreneurial fingerprint is a little bit different. Everybody's skill set is a little bit different. So you've got to kind of look at what you do best first and try to kind of expand from there. What do I know the general public, what do I know more about than the general public? That's what I always tell my coaching students to start with.
I always tell this to all of our staff and also all of our friends and new sellers started, is that you should never sell anything that wouldn't give you a peace of mind.
Oh, would it give you peace of mind?
Yes.
If you
So,
already feel unsure about it.
Where you feel unsure, where you feel that you're not gonna sleep well at night thinking about it, just don't sell it.
Just don't sell it.
Just don't sell it. And when I ask that question, especially to myself, especially to the staff, you know, that's when they start to say, okay, so what will give me a peace of mind? Is it data? Is it the price of the product? Is it the source of the product? So when you think about that question, you have a really big piece of, you know, like a big picture about whether you should buy, whether you should invest, whether you should buy 100, whether you should just buy 10 and test it out. I think it gives a clearer answer than just saying, okay, just look at, you know, this data, just look at the sale drop. It's a whole picture that I should be looking at when we ask questions.
As a beginner right now, I don't touch electronics.
Electronics? Okay.
Yes, I don't touch the glasses, private labels, of course.
So glasses, they're easy to break?
Yeah, easy to break, so I don't have anything for it at this moment, you know.
One, you're going to find out there's a lot of things you have to avoid because you're not allowed to sell it anyway. So you're going to have restrictions as a new seller. You're going to find that your categories you're just not allowed to sell in. And then even when you get approved in certain categories, you may not be able to be approved to sell high-end brand in that category. So Amazon kind of does that for you. I would just go for everything, try it out. I'll tell you what, I don't do books. Some people love books. A lot of people started the ground floor with it, and so I never got into that. Because when you're new, you're just trying to get into. You're just trying to.
It's profitable, right?
Anything. Yeah, absolutely.
Keep searching.
Yeah, I like to stay away from like glass products. I did try to buy a couple of those early on, and a couple of them broke, and then there goes all your profit margin. Because once they get returned to you, they can't be resold basically. So oversized products are a little tricky. If you don't know what you're doing or if you don't have the right margin built in, they can kind of burn you on the profit side. You know, as a beginner, I wouldn't recommend like massive products. Sometimes you can find in like the sporting goods section, some oversized products or rackets or anything that's, you know, a little bit larger. But basically, if you stick to smaller, easy to ship products, that should be a good starting place. And then once you really understand the fees and everything, you know, you can look into some of those oversized products. Because there are some good margins there, you just got to know what to look for.
I don't know what products to recommend not to sell because so many people have had success with so many things and it all depends on what you're limited to sell and ungated, whether you can do hazmat, whether you have a warehouse that you can just ship things from. I'm in a tiny apartment in Manhattan, so for me, I'm avoiding heavy cat food, wet cat food, big bags of 40-pound bags of dog food. It's not my personal choice.
Those would be very heavy and expensive.
Yeah.
So
Especially to take downstairs and
right, and to bring
in
them
an
as well,
apartment
right?
in New York City.
it does depend, I guess, on your geographic location.
For me
things,
personally,
For you
yeah.
personally. And are there like red flags like on products that you just won't touch?
I don't have enough experience to know that yet. I'm still experimenting with all sorts of different categories, all sorts of different. I'm just about to do a bundle when I get back. One of the things I learned here at the conference is to take action.
Right.
So one of my quick action items is to do a bundle. Again, inch deep, mile wide. I'm gonna test some bundles out.
I think apparel and footwear, I think all of us kind of have a general sense of, you know, in your own experience, like things that you've bought that you typically return on a regular, or you know of other people that return those things. And I've heard a lot of other sellers, you know, here at this conference, or at the different conference, that there's been some frustration with those categories. I know there's like much higher potential upside for those things, but it's also a lot more hassle to deal with like the returns for those things. So personally for me, like my idea of success, one of those things is like very rarely having to deal with returns. And I think that anybody who thinks like I do, I would say, you know, stay away from those things that are gonna have high return rates, such as apparel and shoes.
I mean, everybody gets something, and then the shoe might not be the perfect wear, or you might not like it. The clothes might look not as, it doesn't look like the one on the models.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We all have unrealistic expectations of what we really are sometimes.
Right. Sometimes we imagine that we like.
It's like, oh, that's a J. Crew model. It's gonna make me look like that. And then you put it on, and you're like, well, not actually.
There are products that you are going to have a hard time selling. One of the things that you can certainly implement is you have to have a resource budget.
Right.
You have to know how much you're able to spend or how much funding you need. A lot of that will determine the types of products you purchase. And when I say the type I mean price points. So there are different programs within Amazon, and one of them is Small and Light, which we know that there have been some recent updates.
Right, in August.
Yeah, there's some changes there, but that was an area for a new seller to look into. And even though all aspects of Small and Light are not necessarily going away, there's just an update. I believe they're going to have a different pricing structure, but it certainly is not a bad area to begin because you're able to test with not much funding necessary, and you're able to see, and if you are not successful in testing, then you will not feel as bad knowing that you've lost a large amount of your resources, but you've only put at risk a small amount of that. I think that is a good strategy to start with, even if it's using replays, because then you can determine if you want to move further from there, and there's only one way to go, up.
Right, because that price point and then makes the decision. It's kind of like people when they invest, right? Like
Exactly.
if it's a small investment, you're willing to try it out. You're more
Sure.
willing because the risk is a lot lower.
Correct.
I hope you learn about the products you shouldn't sell on Amazon, so next time when you're doing product sourcing, you'll know exactly what products that you should avoid. But one product you shouldn't avoid is the BQool Repricer, which is the #1 AI repricer on the market. We make sure you stay competitive 24/7 with new and different AI rules. We have specific rules for slow-moving items, as well for items in higher demand, which will help you make higher profits. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video.